So today I'm going to be talking about the Doors for the first time, or at least one of those rare times that my shirt matches the band I'm going to talk about. So let's talk about It's Strange Days, their second studio album released on September 25th, 1967, celebrating 55 years, and this album was released on Elektra Records. Very popular album, reached number 3 in the Billboard 200. This is a band that one of the first bands I ever got into when I was very young. I was maybe 8 or 9 years old. I remember I had all these records that actually belonged to my older brother, and I used to listen to the Doors all the time. I think I had the vinyl of pretty much all of Jim Morrison albums, and we had those old record players. Remember those old ones where it's like a cabinet, and then the door opens on the top, and then the record player would be there, and then on the bottom would be like a space for all your records. That's pretty cool. I'll try to find an image of that and throw it up there, but that's pretty cool. So this is their second album. Really cool. It's like psychedelic rock. It's more like laid back than maybe their other albums. It's kind of like a mellow album, I would say, but it's very good. Produced by Paul A. Rothchild and the Doors. Paul A. Rothchild, he was the producer for like Janis Joplin, Neil Young. They recorded this on an 8-track recording machine, and they were like inspired by the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper when they did that. So they were able to do more like multi-tracking and layering than they were able to in the past. This album also uses this Moog synthesizer, and one of the first examples of synth in rock history. Now let's talk about the album cover. It was photographed by Joel Brodsky. He was a famous album photographer. He did albums like the first Kiss album and Maggot Brain by Funkadelic and some others. Now the album cover was taken in New York City. They showed like street performers, but they didn't really have a lot of real street performers, so they had to get some extras. So for example, a random cab driver was the guy playing the trumpet. They paid him like $5 to do that. And Brodsky's assistant is the guy doing the juggling. So I'm pretty sure all those Red Bulls they fell right to the ground as soon as he took the picture. But the album has been reissued a couple times. The 40th anniversary has some bonus tracks, and then the 50th anniversary came with the original mono mix. And let's talk about the songs. Side 1, Strange Days, very psychedelic rock song. It's about hippie culture. This is the one with Jim Morrison playing that Moog synthesizer. And really good song. And there's actually a cover by a rapper called Tech9, who actually recorded the song with the remaining members of the Doors. It's called Strange 2013. I listened to it today. It's pretty cool. It's basically the original song, but with some rapping over it. So if you like rap, check it out. Very kind of like a trippy song. Next song, Your Lost Little Girl. I like this one. It's Your Lost Little Girl. Really nice vocals in this one. It's slow, trippy, nice bass line. Kind of has that kind of twangy guitar riff. Kind of simple song, just verse and chorus, and those carnival style keyboards. Then one of her big songs, "Love Me Two Times." This is about a soldier going off to war, saying goodbye to his girlfriend. This was a popular song, reached number 25 on the charts. Actually banned from certain radio stations. It was kind of too risque for them. Many years later, Aerosmith did a cover of this. It was on the Doors tribute album Stoned Immaculate, and the soundtrack to Air America. That was this movie with Mel Gibson and Robert Downey Jr. Then Unhappy Girl, very trippy psychedelic rock song. It's kind of like a girl who is depressed and she keeps to herself. That's talking about being in her own prison, kind of like the band Creed would do that later. But very short 2-minute song, very 60s psychedelic rock sound. Horse Latitudes, that's the next one. This is Jim Morrison just reciting spoken word poetry. In the background, you got some effects, wind effects, crowds, and things like that. But this is Jim Morrison just doing his spoken stuff. Then the last song on side 1, Moonlight Drive. This was one of the songs that was written during the time of the first album. Really cool song. So we got the bottleneck guitar, kind of dee-oo. That sounds pretty cool. The electric piano, really cool blues rock, nice guitar solo. Morrison does some more those aggressive vocals towards the end. So That's a really good one. Then the opening track on side two, People Are Strange. Another one written early in 1967. Now the story behind this was Jim Morrison was depressed. He took a walk in the canyon. I'm pretty sure he had like some psychedelic assistance. And then after that, he wrote a song just based on like all the things he saw and the people he saw, like called "People Are Strange." And this was covered by Echo and the Bunnymen for the Lost Boys soundtrack in the '80s. So there's some cool trivia. I haven't actually listened to that one yet. Then My Eyes Have Seen You, another one written during the time of the first album. Really cool bass line. My eyes have seen you. Do, 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 do. Really like that one. And cool melodic guitar solo. I Can't See Your Face in My Mind. And very slow, trippy, psychedelic song. Very kind of like a dreamy song. It has a really cool like percussion sounds and like the bass guitars. Really, you can hear that very well. And I can't see your face in my mind. Something like that. Last song, the epic 11-minute When the Music's Over. This is kind of like divided into 5 parts. So like the song starts like that organ sound, and the guitar feels. You know, Jim starts to sing, when the music's over. You know, you got the second part. The music is your own. The music is your only friend. You got the psychedelic guitar solo, those like backwards playing. Then cancel my subscription to the resurrection. You get the slower section, the bass line, and you know, Jim kind of does this like spoken stuff and like, what have they done to the earth? Kind of like one of the first examples of like environmental consciousness in music. You get the isolated bass. The song gets heavier. You get some screams by Jim Morrison. And this kind of ends out the album. It's not a long album. It's about like 35 minutes long, and that's all. This one actually I like a lot. It's a little more mellow, a little more psychedelic than the others. Some of their other stuff would be kind of, they get a little more like rocking, a little heavier. So it's really good. Let me know in the comments what you thought of Strange Days. And that's all. And coming up next, another anniversary review, Black Sabbath Volume 4. That will be tomorrow. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.